Here we go. All right, Casey, but you can't play it out loud. That's the problem.
I got you, girl. Turn the volume down.
Or mute yourself, either way. So, guys, we are here today on this. Hopefully, you have as beautiful weather as Casey has behind her over there in New Hampshire.
Ours is pretty good, too. The sun's out at my house.
Danielle's in Fort Worth, which is about 40 minutes from me here in Dallas. And we are here today. Oh, it's still in broadcast.
Oh, there it is.
There it is. Okay, we're good. So recording, we're on Facebook, we're doing all the things, and hopefully you guys could hear. But Danielle, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Danielle. Let's see, I passed my test on the 4th time, so I am a multiple test taker, which is, I'm okay with it, right? I'm still-
Own it, girl, own it.
Right? So I'm here because I talked with Leah and Casey about us multiple time test takers and what are some things that I did differently that helped me this last time going in, because I did not pass my 3rd time by 3 points. So that was a real, I would say, kick to the dick. I'm not gonna lie. It was. So we're here today. I'm here today to share with you some things that I have done differently so that hopefully I can help you multiple time test takers, because it's hard. It's hard when you've taken it multiple times. So, you want to share?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to disclaimer. I apologize in advance. I'm going to say some cuss words, so please forgive me, but it is what it is. Just all the tabs open here.
I know. Yeah.
Okay, right? So 4 times a charm, 100%. So you're still a BCBA, doesn't matter if you're taking it 10 times, 4 times, 3 times, 2 times, right? Don't let those other BCBA holes get you down. So we all know a BCBA hole. We all do. No offense to these 2 first-time passers, but you know those BCBAs that are like, I passed the 1st time. And I'm like, well, you passed on task list 2. Welcome to task list 4. I have 1,000 more things that I need to know. So don't let those other assholes get you down. So.
And don't surround yourself with those assholes. Surround yourself.
You have to. Don't even involve them. Don't listen to the things. So, all right, you want to click? Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is a picture of what I did every morning before I started studying. I got on one of those things that's make your own like sentence thing, like for a little kid, but I made it and I did it every morning for, how long was collective? 10 weeks?
10 weeks.
I thought it was longer. I feel like it was 20 weeks. Maybe not. It was 10. 10 weeks. I loved every moment of it. Let's be real. But every morning before I studied, so I studied every day, I filled out one of these. Before I opened my book, before I looked at any notes I had taken, I wrote down that I will pass. You have to go in to this with a positive mindset. And then this is the background of my phone to remind myself that no one else but me was putting in the work, right? I went to collective. I love collective. I got all the things out of collective, but I was the one putting in the work. I had to believe in myself that I was going to get it done. I was going to read my notes. I was going to read the chapters. You have to believe in yourself that you can do it. You have to have positive self-talk. And I will tell you, there were times where I was like, oh, this is so hard. I don't know. And I was like, bitch, get yourself together. You're going to pass and you're going to be fine. And you have to mentally slap yourself in the face and say, we are not having any negative talk in this study session. So you have to be positive mindset going into your studying.
And I want you to know, just because you can't see the feedback from people, people are saying, I love this, and they're doing so many hearts and likes, and they're saying, love this, I love that, that def works. Okay, put it out in the universe. That's what people are saying. Casey putting it out in the universe.
Believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself. You cannot let that negative get in there. You have to just slap yourself in the face When you go to say something negative, or it can be hard, but you know what? You're growing. If it wasn't hard, you wouldn't be growing. So that's how I definitely thought about some things. There's some concepts that were still really hard that I was like, this is really difficult, but I know that I'm growing from this. Will you click to the next one, please?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
You have 112 people on, by the way.
Oh, yay, I'm so excited. Okay, so this is really important. It is so important to figure out how you learn. So I needed to know going into this 4th time, what was the best way for me to learn? Because I had studied multiple ways. I had read my book from front to back. I have done note cards. I had done BDS module. So what did I need to know about myself to help me be a better learner? And so I took a test and I found out that I was pretty much even auditory and a visual learner. So I knew that I needed to write it and hear it. So I did a lot of writing it out, saying out loud to myself, writing it out, saying it out loud to myself. So you can go online and search what type of learner you are, and then you can kind of figure out what is the best way for you to get that information you need into your brain. So maybe you're a hands-on person. Maybe you need to maybe you're a person that just can listen to it and be good. So find out how you learn. That's important. Amazing.
All right. Can I click the next one?
Yes, ma'am.
I should have given you clicking permission because then I might be slow.
Oh, that's okay. Okay, I apologize that the pictures are not great, but I don't know why. For my iPhone 11, I thought they would be better. But you have to write it out. Write that shit out. If they don't have, like, I am not a professional letterer. I don't even know how to do lettering, but I have more pens and more highlighters than any person should. Probably Liat has more, but my husband was like, you don't need any more pens. And then the funny thing is he would come home and be like, I bought you some pens at Walmart. So he was very invested in making sure I had what I needed. So write it out, make it pretty, make it colorful, figure out the best way that you can remember it. Use your sticky notes, write yourself some positive notes. Like I wrote myself a note in my Cooper book. Here it is. This is a note to myself. And it says, breathe, you've got this. Take your time, read your stuff. So use your notes to write yourself some notes that you're doing a great job. So when you are having a hard day, you can look and remember, hey, you've got this. There are days.
You're a badass biatch.
You are a badass biatch.
Ready for the next one?
Yes, please.
And by the way, I just want to tell you guys something. When you write out beautiful notes, there's nothing more reinforcing than like flipping through your pages like this and just looking. It's literally like you created an art project, right? So as you're doing it, get whatever pens you want, get, things that are exciting to you, stickers, like make yourself like a little girl again or little boy, whatever it is, and make that shit reinforcing. Save those pens to use just for when you're studying, right? That's that stimulus pairing. Like, okay, this is my time to study. I got all my pens out, all this, I'm ready.
So these are my pens for my pairing pack, right? So these pens are special to me. And so I use them only at special times. But when I was studying, these are my pens. I wrote that shit out with my pens because I knew that these are the things that I needed to be successful. So get yourself a pairing pack if you haven't got one. They have stickers, they have highlighters. I mean, here are my highlighters right here. Like, well, I put them all together, but these are some highlighters from your pairing pack. They're amazing. Get yourself things that
they're half off right now if you use the coupon PAIR.
But if you get yourself a pairing pack, it's special to you and it's special to your studying, and you can build your whatever pins you want to go from there, but you know that these are important to you and this is what you're going to use to be successful. So, okay. Everybody talks about how Cooper is aversive. I am going to tell you, I love this book. This is the front of my book. Liat always talks about decorating it. This is my arm, like my legit arm that I went and got the cover of Cooper tattooed on me when I passed my test. But this is my book. And so my daughter has put some stickers on there, but I put that dinosaur and I put that shark because those things are important to me. I have lots of tattoos, and so I have a shark and I have a dinosaur. But this is my book, and this reminded me, right? So when I think of a shark and I think of a great white, right? They're always up, they're always working, they're always on the go, they're doing what they need to do. So I made my book what I felt like was important to me. Here is the inside of write in your book. Write in your book. It's your book. Put stickers in it. Right. This is an example. It doesn't matter. So like the highlighting doesn't have really like any, doesn't have any meaning. I just made sure that I knew as I highlighted, I didn't want it all to be one color. I wanted it to know so I could break it out. So maybe in one section I use green, and in the next section I use pink. So that way when I went back and looked in my book, I could differentiate what was what, and it wasn't all one color of yellow. So write in your book, right?
That's huge.
You have to write in your book. You have to love your book. This is what you're growing up to be. This book. You have to get the information in the book is what you're going to be. So you have to love your book. It's so important. It has such great information in it. You just have to be able to filter. So we are going to talk about that, aren't we? In one of our other April ones about how to filter out the information.
Yep.
Okay.
Every Tuesday this month, we are doing different things to, really like these prerequisite things to study, because, it's not just about the content. A lot of people are really smart and know the content, but, you don't realize what it is to study to this extent. I mean, at least I know. I mean, I got through college, got through grad school without studying like this. It's a different kind of studying, and it's definitely a skill that you need to have on its own. Like, you need to learn how to study. You need to learn how to love your book. I mean, so we say these things and you're like, oh, it's silly. Stick stickers on, do this. There's actually reasoning behind it. And as you get into your studying and you learn about the importance of pairing and, creating something to be, manipulating the MO, right? Like you could see on the side of her book, she has those tabs that look like they're well worn in to get to each topic. So if she's looking up positive reinforcement, she could look, oh, that's chapter whatever, right?
11,
exactly. So it decreases that response effort. So she's manipulating the MO, like, okay, it's not that hard for me to look something up, so I'm going to do it.
Well, and here's what I want to talk to you about your book too, right? So everyone, there's a lot of people that are like, my book is so aversive. If you love ABA, this is why you're doing ABA, because you love it. And there's something about it that you love. I love positive reinforcement, and I love MOs. And so if you feel like your book is like, oh, this is awful, pick a topic in your book to start reading that you love, right? That's gonna feed that fire and that passion, that this is why I love this. This is why I want to do what I want to do. Maybe you love verbal operants. Read that chapter first. Like I have read in my book, but there are chapters that I skipped because I was like, I don't want to read about experimental design right now. That's like super dry. But I do want to read about positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement. Maybe I want to read about schedules of reinforcement because I really like that. So pick out some chapters on the concepts that you really love, to get that fire burning again and get in your book and love your book and mark up your book, because you have made it reinforcing for you because it's a topic that you love.
People are loving what you're saying, by the way. I know it's hard when you don't get the feedback, but you have like 118 people on here saying, I love this. This has helped me so much.
Liat sent me Cooper 3rd edition the other day as a little like surprise, and it was like Christmas had came. I was like holding it and going through and so excited to dive into it. So it's all about your mindset too, right? Like switch your mindset from the negative to the positive.
By the way, as we're sitting here, I know last year's Cooper contest, I like rhinestoned my whole book. They all fell off. And actually tomorrow is the day we're releasing the Cooper book cover winner. Right now I'm currently stamping up my book with stickers as we sit here. Last year, the same book, but I'm just going to decorate it more.
And I just actually, I put it on Amazon that I'm going to buy the 3rd edition because I'm ready to get into that. I'm excited. I've already decided.
We're on Chegg, by the way.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll check on there.
Hey, Danielle, we have a question in the chat. What did you do when reading Cooper was difficult in some chapters? So when things did get difficult, like maybe just talk about that real quick.
So I'm going to talk about that right on the next slide.
Perfect.
Okay, so here are the things that I use that I felt like helps me be successful. So I'm going to answer Casey's question. So what did I do when I felt like it was a difficult topic? So I went and looked it up, Sitecore video, right? Because they have like these little short snippets of the concept and they break it down. And then I would get on and maybe I would look Google image it and see what does Google, I needed a visual. So it was really difficult for me if I couldn't find a visual. And I will say on Study Notes Instagram, so I had the hardest time separating response generalization and stimulus generalization. But as soon as Liat put that on there with the boobies, I was like, I got it. It stuck. I just needed.
What did I post?
It was like all of the boobies, right? So all the different types of boobies is going to be stimulus generalization because they're boobies. So it was just like I needed a visual. So if you have a topic that you're not sure about, look up Sitecore videos. They're awesome. So here's the breakdown of how I studied. The big manual is great. It is literally Cooper, but it's all the concepts, right? All the bullet points. But I will tell you, Collective was game changer. Collective was game changer for me because we got real life examples. And when you can pick stuff out in real life, you can apply it. I mean, it's the same thing with listening. I thought I put the podcast on here, but maybe that's on another one. But listening to the podcast on the episode about dating and then talking about extinction bursts and then being able to identify one in myself where I was like, oh, I just had an extinction burst. Awesome. So, just being able to pick that out. So Collective made a huge difference. I use the Pass the Big manual just as like a quick reference. Like, I don't want to look in my book. I want to just do a quick reference. Sitecore videos are the bomb. Those guys are hilarious and it's already broken down. Cooper quizzes are good. They're going to be like legit questions from the book. So it's very technical. And then I did ABA Wizard app also. And then I didn't put it on here, but I did the Study Notes app too when it came out. But I did 50 questions a day, 50 to 100 questions a day, depending on if it was a weekday or a weekend. And I did the random questions, so I built that fluency, right? So you're going through it, and then it's really about your test taking skills, which I think is on another practicing your test taking skills, which I think is on another slide. So Study Notes app is really good, right? So it has that.
It came out at the end of your studying. Yes,
it did, but it is really good because I've been in the app, guys. So what's really good about it is that you're practicing your test taking skills and you're practicing your fluency. That's where it's at. It's when you can read those questions, identify what the content is, look at the answer choices, and quickly pick it. And then you can identify what's working and what's not working. Will you flip to the next one?
Before you do that, or as you flip it, I just want to remind everyone, I wrote it in the chat, but speaking of Study Notes ABA and Sitecore, we're teaming up tomorrow to bring you stimulus equivalents in our Zoom room number. I posted it in the chat, 993-748-5523. And it's at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. And it's going to be fun. So.
Yes. I know. I'm sad I can't go. I have to go to a meeting at that time.
Quit your job.
I know. Okay. So here, right, this is always a difficult pill to swallow. You have to monitor yourself. You have to take data on yourself. So on the top right is a fit mock I took before. I think we were only like two weeks into Collective. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to take this. I had been reading, but I was like, okay, I'm going to take this, right? It's the beginning. I need to know my starting point. What's my baseline? So I went through, and did I do great? No, but I knew that this was my baseline. So if I did what I needed to do, I knew it was going to go up. So I identified the areas that I knew that I needed to come back to and be like, okay, So this on the left is how I took data on myself, which I know is a terrible picture, but it is, I took data on what I got, how many questions I did on the ABA Wizard app, how many questions I did in the Study Notes app, what was the Cooper quizzes that I did, and what was the score that I got them on. And then what, I'm trying to think, I did something before and after. So I took a quiz, I did, in Pass the Big, they have a quiz, like a quiz at the end. And so I would take that quiz before I reviewed that section in Pass the Big, and then I would take it after I read in my book, and like, could I fill those in really quickly? Did I know what they were asking? Because they ask it in a variety of ways. Okay, so in Collective, we talk about,
I really, one second, sorry, this is just really important. I love the Pass the Big ABA manual. It's an awesome resource. It's written really well, and it's great to use with your Cooper reading. Do not use it as a replacement for your reading.
No, don't.
It's a great resource. You want to refer to something quickly. It's well written. It's great, but make sure that you're using it to, maybe it's good for you to help you like outline your chapter, how you want to break things down, but make sure that you are still reading your Cooper book. Like your Cooper book, the test is on your Cooper book.
Yes.
So learn to love it.
Read your book and use Pass the Big if you can find, because here's the deal. Lots of people have them on their shelves. Ask to borrow it. It is a good quick reference, right? But your stuff and your examples are in their book. So when you're reading your book, right, it gives you that super technical explanation. But what the nice part about your book is, if you keep reading, they give you a basic example of what they're talking about. So there's a basic example in there. So read that technical information, but look for that basic example that they give you so that you understand like, oh, okay, this is what they're talking about. So when we were in Collective, we were talking about mocks. I will tell you, this time going into my 4th time was the first time I had taken multiple mock exams. So when we talk, I love with my whole entire heart the Study Notes mini mocks. I did those because the review at the end of the questions is phenomenal. Dr. Maggie does an amazing job breaking it down and explaining why is it the right answer? Why did we pick this? Why was this a wrong answer? Did you get tripped up on these words, right? Because you have to identify those key words. What are you looking for? So my goal was, I set myself a goal that I was gonna take a BAS mock and I had to get over an 80. That was the goal for myself. Even though to pass the BAS mock, you only need a 70. My goal was an 80. So I got this 72.8 and I sent it to Casey and I was like, oh my God, I'm so close, right? And so she was like, no, it's great, that's passing. And I was like, no, I have to get an 80. I have to get an 80. Like that was my goal. And so I studied. And the great thing about the BAS mocks, just like Study Notes, is they tell you at the end what was right and then what section it is, so that so when I would go through my BAS mock, I would mark, okay, this is section D, this is section D, this is section E, this is section I, so that I knew where am I missing the most questions, so that I knew going in where can I go back and review. So then I finally got, and it's like an 86 points. What is it? I can't see your Liat's beautiful face. Oh, it's an 86.9. Okay, I did this. I have 2 little kids. I have an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old. And I did a lot of studying from 3 o'clock in the morning to 5:30 in the morning, because then I had to go to work. And I knew that I was going to be tired at the end of the day and that I wasn't going to study. I just knew it. So I got up at 3 o'clock and studied from 3 a.m. to 5:30 a.m. every morning. And then on Saturday and Sunday, I got like 4 or 5 hours in of studying. But
figure out what's best for you. If you're a morning person, take advantage of those mornings.
Yes. And
if you're a morning person and you're a late night studier, figure that out ahead of time and set up the conditions that you'll be successful. So if you know you get up at 3 or something, make sure you get to bed on time.
So, and you know, it's really hard to get up. And I will tell you, I bought this. This is an app. It's called Sleep Cycle. And I'll put it in there somewhere, but it wakes you up gradually. And it made it so much easier to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning because it wasn't like a loud meh. So it was nice. So I got this 86.7. I literally jumped up and down in my house. I sent it to Casey. I was like, look what I got. I'm so excited, right? So like that gave me confidence going in, like, hey, I need to take my time and do what I know how to do. So when you're taking these, and we'll talk a little bit more about that when you're taking your mocks here. So self-monitor as much as it sucks, and as much as you see that you didn't do well in something, that's okay. That's a growth point. You have to look at it like it's not that I didn't do well in it. It's that it's an area that I need to focus on so that I can grow. So definitely approach those things that you're not doing great at as it's something to grow from. It's not something bad. So
I always say mocks are great. And by the way, when you're choosing a mock, choose a mock that gives you explanations of the answer.
Yes.
Or at least, I mean, I've seen mocks that you have to pay extra to get even A, B, C, D, E, right? Or not E, whatever. You want a mock that's going to give you explanations of what you missed, because mocks are great data points for you of what you don't know, okay? So when you're reading through a chapter in Cooper, you're reading it, but you're never gonna read something as hard as when you miss something and you're trying to understand why you missed it.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of looking at that as like, shit, I don't know this, look at it as opportunity. Every question you miss, so let's say you take a 160 question mock and you miss 80 questions. You have 80 opportunities to learn something new and read deeper into that stuff. So look at it as opportunity. So you want to expose yourself to as many questions as you can.
Well, and it's just right. It's just like dating, right? So if you break up with someone and then you never get the reasons why, you're always like, well, what did I do wrong? What do I need to fix? So that's why it's the same thing with a mock exam. You want a mock exam that's going to tell you what you did so that you can fix it going into your test. So like the fit mock doesn't tell you what you got right or wrong. So if you are taking a mock, take a study notes mock, take the mini mocks, and do a BAS mock, because I know at least those three. I
do know that FIT does have guides to use mocks.
Do they? Okay. Yeah. Maybe it's just the one I didn't do.
Don't offer it and some that do. So just make sure we differentiate that.
Yeah. So make sure that you're looking at if it has, it tells you what the responses are. But the mini mocks for study notes are amazing. The videos at the end are awesome. The explanations are amazing. Like, get the mini mocks, because they're $10 a piece, right? Or you can buy like the bundle.
I think for like, it comes to 8 each maybe with the bundle.
Yeah, So I think I bought the bundle and I did them, and you can do them twice, correct?
I believe so.
Yeah, so I would take one and write down what I got, and then I would do some reading, and then I would come back and take it again. So take that data on yourself. Take that data point.
So whichever mock you use, whether it's study notes or not, and also make sure you get feedback, because that's really important. If you're taking something just for and you're going to have no idea how you did, it's worth nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, check the source of where you're getting it from. Okay. Free is not always free. Check where you're getting a mock from. If it's free, but writing questions is really difficult actually. And so you want to make sure that the information you're getting from a mock is correct. So if the question's not written well, and now you're going to take that information and generalize the incorrect information, it's not worth that free, because then it's going to cost you later if you get anything wrong. So just wherever you're choosing a mock from, make sure that it is a reliable resource.
Yes, agreed.
Like, seriously. And one other thing I just want to add in, there's all these amazing resources out there, whether it's ours or not. Whatever method you're going to do, you need to pick and stick, because I know personally it is really overwhelming when you're studying, because there's so many cool things. And I remember being like, okay, I want to use these Quizlet cards. Okay, I want to use this book. I want to use that. I want to use this. I want to read. Like, you just have to choose one thing you're going to use and stick with it. Because so if you're deciding I'm going to read the Cooper book, which should be your method, you're going to read it, and however you're going to do it, make that your method throughout, because you're going to be excited by all these different resources. And one other thing I want to add in is that I remember when I was going to study, I was like, hey, Jordan, to my friend who's BCBA, I need all your notes and stuff you took when you were studying. I need it. Right? I had her flashcards, her notes, or this or that. It meant nothing. You have to do that stuff for yourself. Getting someone else's notes is nothing. You have to go through writing it yourself. Sorry, I just feel passionate about that.
Yes, you have to. It's important. Okay. So, I mean, this is just, okay. So this is important, right? This is really where this is why you're taking your mock exam, right? It's not just to test you on if you know the information. You're practicing your test taking skills. You have to practice your test taking skills. So when I would do my mock exams, I practiced how I was going to break down the question when I went and took the exam. So I went in and I was like, okay, I'm going to read the last sentence first of the question. Then I'm going to read my answer choices. And from the last sentence, can I eliminate any information or any answer choices that I feel like I know this doesn't go with this question, this what they're asking me. Then I knew, okay, so I know that they're asking me a question about positive reinforcement. Now when I go back and I read the question, I'm looking for those key words and I can filter out all that other bullshit that they put in there that they try to trick you. Then you're reading that last sentence again and you're double checking and you're like, okay, I've eliminated 2 answer choices. Now I have 2 answer choices left. What is it asking me? What are my keywords? Okay, I'm going to pick this question. So also, right, and those questions, the negation questions where they're like, what is it not? Don't even look at the not, right? If you can block it out and look at what it's asking you and think, what is it? And then you can mark, okay, well, I know that it's this, this, and this. And then you've already answered the question's answer for you because you didn't worry about the not. You identified what they're asking that it is. And then you can be like, okay, well, now I know that this is the answer because this is what it's not. So practice your skills when you're taking your mocks, because you can take a times mock or you can take a not times mock, but then you're getting yourself and you're programming that in so that you have those skills and you practice them going into the test where your anxiety is high and you're nervous and if you're me, you're sweaty under the armpits. And, you know what you need to do. You need to read the last sentence first. You need to read the answer choices. Can you eliminate any answer choices from the question alone? Go back through. Don't get caught up in all that extra nonsense. Look for those keywords. What is it asking me? Can I come back? And use your whiteboard. We're going to talk about using your whiteboard, but use your whiteboard to help you keep track. Write A, B, C, D on your whiteboard and then cross out the answer so that you don't get confused. And then here's what I'll tell you. Do not second guess yourself. If you say it's A, mark A and move on. Because more than likely what's going to happen is you're going to second guess yourself and either could go either way. And you don't want to be like, oh, it's one of those, just mark it and move on. Because when I was taking my mocks and I would go back and second guess myself, I always got it wrong. And that's just me. But when I went into that last BAS mock, I didn't change a single answer. I left it alone, even though there were times where I was like, oh my God, I really want to change this answer. And I was like, no, I wrote it on my practice whiteboard and I said, you don't get to change answers. Mark your answer and move on. So don't second guess yourself. Read that last sentence first. Read your answer choices. Can you eliminate any answer choices just from the question alone? Go back and read the question. Read that sentence again. Then look at your answer choices again. What do you have left? So practice those test taking skills when you're taking your mocks so that you are comfortable in that skill going forward into taking your test.
A lot of people are saying they second guess.
Don't second guess yourself. That's the hardest thing, right? Is to be like, oh gosh, it could be either, what is this? Believe in yourself, right? This is why you're going to take your mock exams. And so you can make a note on your practice whiteboard. I guessed on 13, I guessed on 25, I guessed on 16, whatever, right? So then when you get to go back and look at your answers, you can see, okay, I guessed and I left it alone on 16 and I got it right. I guessed and I changed my answer on 25 and I got it wrong. It was what I thought it was. So if you are a second guesser, which I am, I will 100% admit that. It was really hard for me to mark it and move on, but I practiced that. And I did mark down in my practice test what I guessed on and that I left it alone and what I guessed, and then I changed it, and I could have said it could have been A or D, and then I would circle, well, I guess this one, but I changed it to this one, and then it ended up being the other one. So practice that. Practice not second guessing yourself. Just mark it and move on. You can't overthink it, because they're looking for the simplest answer. It's there. They're giving it to you. They're just fluffing it up. They're just trying to confuse you with all that extra bullshit they put in that question. What is it they're asking? They're looking for the simplest answer. So don't get caught up. Bam. Okay. Whiteboard. I have so many pieces of paper that I practice my whiteboard on. I practice my whiteboard. What are you going to write on your whiteboard? Why
don't you tell people what the whiteboard is in case they've never taken it?
Oh, okay. So if you've never taken your test, you get, literally it's grid paper, and you get a dry erase marker, and you can write all of your stuff that you want to remember on your whiteboard, or whatever you want to write on your whiteboard. So I wanted to make sure that I gave myself some reinforcement in my test. So I know that the test is 160 questions. I broke out the questions in 25 so I could mark off, right? Negative reinforcement as I went. Oop, I got 25 down. Oop, I got 50 down. I got 75 down. I got 100 down, 60 to go. Like, you're right there. You're at the end. That's your, if you're running a marathon, that's your last 6 miles, right? You're right there. You've done the 20. You got 6 more to go. You can do it. So I broke it out so I could give myself some negative reinforcement as I went. I also wrote down that it's 4 hours. So I wanted to be really mindful of my time. So I broke out the hours. So I knew, okay, 1 hour had passed, 2 hours had passed, 3 hours had passed. Okay, now we're down to 1 hour. Where am I at in my questions? So I also wrote on my whiteboard, don't second guess, leave it alone. And then I wrote, you can do it, you're gonna pass. I wrote myself some notes, and then I wrote,
cool.
Huh?
Right, you're so pretty, you're cool.
Hey, whatever you need, man. Give yourself those positive vibes. And then I wrote on there all of the stuff, like it was just like a brain dump. I wrote what response generalization was, stimulus generalization. I wrote that acronym I used to remember all the pieces of generalization. I wrote down pod puff. I wrote down how I remember continuous measurement goes with discontinuous behaviors. And so I wrote down what I felt like I needed to be able to get on that piece of paper just in case it came down to the question and I needed to figure it out, right? Same thing, I wrote out that little positive reinforcement is something added and it goes up. Like, I know these things, but I wanted to make sure that I had a visual of them going into the test, especially stimulus generalization and response generalization. So, and I even wrote boobs on stimulus generalization so I can remember, however you remember. So whatever you do when you're studying to remember those things, like write it out on your whiteboard, go in, do a brain dump, like, oh, I know I need to remember these things, blah, 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 and scribble it down. If you are an ABC mark out person, write ABC and mark them out as you go. You can get a new whiteboard. You have plenty of space. So your whiteboard is definitely a tool you need to utilize and you need to practice using. So use a piece of graph paper. I like to write on graph paper. I don't know what it is about graph paper. I write all of my notes on graph paper.
They love the tip you just gave.
Which was what?
I don't remember. You said
I don't remember either. Practice your whiteboard skills. Get some graph paper. It's going to be graph paper. Get graph paper. Practice your whiteboard skills when you're taking your practice, your mini mocks or your practice mock, What are you going to write down? What do you need to write down? What was it about? And maybe remember the topic. And so you're going to make a note on your whiteboard so that when you go back to study, you can be like, oh, I need to review this because there was a question about it and I wasn't really sure. So use that, practice your whiteboard skills.
Use your whiteboard as a brain dump. There's certain things that might be the most difficult for you and you're like, okay, I'm literally holding this on right until I get in there.
Right, exactly. Maybe it's stimulus equivalent. Maybe it's the triangle. Maybe it's A equals A and A equals B and B, however you want to, whatever you need to remember. You know, there are those things that you're like, this is so important. I need to remember. You're going to look at it in your car before you go in, and then you're going to write it down as soon as you get in there in your whiteboard. Maybe with your questions, maybe you decide, okay, when I get to 75 questions, I'm going to take a break. Maybe that break isn't necessarily, I didn't physically leave my testing station, but I stopped for a second, maybe a minute. I closed my eyes. I did some breathing. I kind of just gave myself and my eyes a break. And then I got back in it. Maybe you need to get up and go to the bathroom and get a drink. Plan that. What does that look like? Are you going to do that at 50 questions? Are you going to do that at 75 questions? Where are you going to take a break at? So you know, if it is never leaving your station like me, and I just kind of sat back and kind of closed my eyes like this and kind of was like, okay, you're doing great, did some positive self-talk, and then got back in it. What look like? What is your break going to look like? So, okay. So here is something that I didn't do. This sounds so terrible. But this is literally the truth. This is the 100% of the truth, guys. This is before I wrote all my notes, but I didn't look at them again. But this time you better believe that I looked at every note from Collective. I reviewed my notes that I had taken on Cooper. I had bought the Collective package with the videos, and Liat laughed at me, but I watched them in the car when I was driving. So I went back and looked through the collectives on my,
I'm hoping you weren't watching and driving.
No, I was listening and driving.
Okay.
It was playing through my car.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, just making sure you weren't driving.
No, I was listening and driving, but I went back through my, what do you call it? Like not your syllabus, but the collective outline. And I picked the collectives that I wanted to listen to the topics to review. So listen to the Behavior Bitches podcast. It's so good. It's like such a great resource to have real life examples. So, you know, like the dating one is really good. I loved the murder function one. Oh my God, it was my jam. It was my jam. I loved it so much. Like I love all of the podcasts, but that one was like, so good.
Also, guys, shameless plug, yesterday's episode that dropped is all about practical functional assessment. We make it real and relatable and understandable with Dimitri from the Controversial Exchange. He's hilarious. So if you are home and you're like, functional analyses, right? Go check it out.
It's great. You can put, most cars now have Bluetooth, right? You just put it in your car and listen and drive. It's easy. And then when you're studying, you're thinking about those concepts that they're talking about in the podcast, and then you're getting a real life example. Get a tutor. If you need a tutor, get a tutor. Don't find anyone, right? Because there are some BCBAs that are assholes. So find a tutor, find someone that you know, and ask them. Maybe they're not tutoring you for every day, but see if they can meet with you once for a couple of hours on a Saturday every other week. And then you can talk through some stuff that you aren't familiar with, because then, you can ask those questions. Find somebody that you're comfortable with. Okay. Because how do I nicely say this? There are some people that you feel comfortable asking questions with, like, I feel comfortable asking Liat questions, and I feel comfortable asking Casey questions, because
you got to come on strong. Like, I just want you guys to know, Danielle would be like, hey, I know you don't really tutor, but listen, I'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. That
is a lie, guys. But ask. I know, Casey, I know there's a couple of people that do tutoring for study notes, right?
Yeah.
So there, you can find someone that makes you feel comfortable, right? So even if you have somebody that you pick that's a tutor and you don't feel comfortable asking them a question, don't stay there. You want to go where you feel comfortable, because guess what? No question is stupid. I love a question. Okay. So ask questions. Questions just mean that you're trying to get that information. So find someone that you feel comfortable with and ask those questions. I went through my task list towards the end and I just made quick examples. Like I would read, okay, I'm in section D. What's positive reinforcement? What's negative reinforcement? Like, can I quickly identify these examples and content that go with this thing on the task list? And then look for those everyday examples that pop up. Maybe you decide that you want to watch, I don't know. I haven't watched, don't judge me, guys. I have 2 little kids. I have not watched Tiger King yet, but maybe you take data on Tiger King. Maybe maybe you're just practicing your skills. You're practicing that, identifying. I don't know if anyone's seen that Ortega French fry commercial where the dad's like, you got to eat your broccoli and then you can have your French fries. Well, that's first in, right there in real life. So we know that there are those examples out there. And if you can go to someone and explain to them a difficult topic in their language, you're doing a great job. There was a day I was at my parents' house and my dad was talking to me. He just wrote a book. So he was talking about his book. It's about to come out. I'm very proud of him. But we were talking about a concept and I was like, oh, okay, Dad, that's like MOs. And then so I went through and explained to him what MOs were in everyday language so that he was like, oh, yeah, I get it. I see what you're saying. So explain it to those people that don't know what ABA is and how amazing it is, right? Because we all are in this because we know and love ABA. So talk it out. And I didn't put this on here, but this is super important. Explain to your significant other why this is so important to you and why you are spending every waking moment, why you're getting up early, why you're staying up late, why you're listening to it in the car. Why is it important to you? I will tell you, my husband was like a G when it came to it. He made all of the dinners. He took care of kids. He took them to the park. He gave me quiet time. He bought me pens. I knew I had collective Monday and Wednesday and that he was in charge, which when he's in charge, there's not really a lot of, it's like a free for all, but he kept everybody quiet because he knew how important this was to me, that he was even more invested this last time than he ever has been. So explain to your significant other why you're spending all of your time, because it's important to you. You love it. This is your love language. You want to do great things when you're, not that you're already not doing great things, but you're going to do even greater things when you're a BCBA, but you have to put in the work now. And there's a lot of work to be put in. So explain that to them and say, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I love it. And I want to be this. I always teased him and said, this is what I want to be when I grow up. I just want to grow up, right? This is going to be the 4th time. Like, I just want to grow up eventually. So explain your love, right? Because this is your love language. ABA is your love language. So explain that to your significant other. So I think that's it.
Is this the end of it?
I think so.
Okay, because I'm going to stop sharing, but one question I want to ask you is, okay, so, and I've seen it on here. You took the test multiple times, right? You were really fucking close.
Yes.
So we have a lot of people in that same situation. And again, I just want to remind people that this test does not reflect who you are as a practitioner. It doesn't reflect on any of that. Like, when you're a BCBA, you're a fucking BCBA, okay? Like, it's a fucking hard test to take. That's a skill on its own. That's why we're focusing this month's classes on like the test taking skills, all the free classes this month. But what I want to ask you is, what did you change in your own intervention for yourself with your studying that you believe was what changed the game for you on your final time of taking it? Like, did you read your book differently? Did you actually read your book? Did you Like, what did you do that is that differentiating factor?
So I would say that, okay, so I'm not gonna lie to y'all. When I didn't pass, I cried. I was so mad. And my daughter was crying. Everybody was crying, right? And it sucked. And I took a 2-week break, and I was like, okay, but what I feel like made the difference was everyone says the test is hard. This test is hard. This test is hard, right? That's all you hear is the test is hard. Well, we know the test is hard. I really feel like I went into it this time having that positive mindset that it doesn't matter. I know that it's hard, but there are hard things in life and we can all do hard things. I went into it every day in the mindset that I am going to pass this test, and I love this. I love what I'm doing. I love studying. I love growing in the information. So
by the way, sorry, I don't want to distract you, but
no,
Maggie's on, and you're her biggest fan.
Oh my God, I love her, and I have never met her, and I love her so much.
Maggie.
I loved her. Okay, first I loved her in the podcast, and I was like, oh my God, I love this person. She is so amazing. And then when she does the review at the end of the mini mocks, I was like, oh my God, I love her even more. She's so amazing. Like, I love her. I've never met her, but she is amazing.
Okay, that's for Maggie. Okay, keep going. You're doing great.
I would just say, like, reading, collective made a huge difference. Like, it made a huge difference because I was in a community of people that understood what was important. But I really feel like setting my mind right before I ever got into studying, even when I knew that that concept was going to be hard, made a huge difference because I feel like it allowed me to learn. I wasn't looking at it like, oh, this is going to be so hard. I don't want to read this. Like, I went in before I started. I said, I'm going to pass this test. I'm going to pass this test. I'm going to pass this test. I know what I need to do. I need to read my chapters. I need to write my notes. So I went through a checklist mentally of what I needed to do to prepare myself to study so that I could get that information and just open myself up to just letting it in there. So, and I did not read my chapters in order, or in like chronological order. I read them how we have them in the collective, which I feel like also made a huge difference because they were grouped in sections. So positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement were together. Schedules of reinforcement were together. Generalization and maintenance were together, that goes together. So I think that is important to, you know, you don't have to read it in order for you to be successful. Just find something you love and read it. But you have to set yourself up for success.
And I have to say, something that I think made you successful is from like day one of the collective, like she was eager. She was like, I think you had like already done your payment plan before it even started.
I did.
But something that like, you really bought into the process. You were like, okay, so they're telling me to take these pretty notes, and it's really important in doing that. And by buying in, I mean, it's not like she had to like buy other things. Like when she was in the collective, it was like, okay, they're telling me to do this reading. You did the homework. Like you put your work in. We were like, okay, do this now. You would do whatever it was. So like, even if I tutored you, I'd be like, okay, I need you to write me 3 practice questions for this. Done. And I saw like that you really took it seriously in what you were doing. Because I mean, yes, of course, I think our program is awesome, but you put in that work.
Yeah.
And which I know is really hard when you've like been so close to passing and you didn't, but I think that's just huge for people to hear also that like.
Well, and I think what also is, my feelings were hurt. I didn't pass. Like it hurt my heart. I was so disappointed and I was like right there. And it was just like, I was just so disappointed. And I think that it's important for you to acknowledge those feelings, that my feelings are hurt. I am sad. I am pissed. This fucking makes me so angry. Like I was so angry. And allow your
It's okay to be pissed for a little bit.
And it's okay, but that's what I'm saying. Like, acknowledge those feelings. You don't have to bottle those up, and you don't have to put a lid on it and be like, okay, I got to get right back into it. If you need to take a break for a couple of weeks and give your mind some time to rest and for you to process through your feelings, do that. Give yourself, set a boundary, right? Casey did it this morning. She needed a break, or she needed mentally, we all need something. I'm like that too. Like if I get overwhelmed, I have to just say, I have to stop for just a minute. So acknowledge your feelings. And if you need to take a short break, take a short break. Allow your brain to rest. Maybe read a book, watch some trashy TV. I love Real Housewives of Atlanta. I love NeNe Leakes. Oh my God, I love her so much. But I took a break and let my brain just kind of decompress, because it's stressful. Your anxiety builds, right? Your test day is coming and your days are counting down and you have all this information. And I told my husband, I said, I feel like I'm a cup full of water that I keep pouring water in and things just spill out because there's no more place for it to go because I have all of this information. You have to know a whole textbook. So give yourself a break. Allow yourself to be mad or pissed or sad and take a break. And I feel like when I took a break this last time, I think that allowed me to heal my feelings of being pissed, and that it was going to be the fourth time I was taking it. And I was pissed that I was taking it again for the fourth time. But I was in such a better mindset taking a break and going into it, because I was back to loving it. I didn't hate it. I wasn't mad at it, because I feel like when you don't pass, you're so mad at the content. You're mad at the book. You're mad at the test. You're mad, and you forget that you love this and this is why you're doing it. So give yourself a break.
That's great advice. People are saying perfect metaphor. You're doing great.
Thanks.
While I've been sitting here, I recovered my book.
Oh, I love it.
But look, I was going to put these two stickers on, but I saved them for you. One.
I love that. Oh, I love that.
I was going to put them on, but I saved it for you.
See, I do. I have a shark. Oh, that's my dinosaur. I can't. There's my shark. I got another dinosaur.
So what other questions do people have? People are saying they're so mad at themselves that they wanted to quit.
It's okay. It's okay to feel that way. Write it down and say, I fucking hate this. I'm so pissed. This pisses me off. Fuck you, test. Fuck you, book, whatever. Crumple it up, throw it away, and then love it again, because you love it. That's why you're doing it.
And what I could tell, it's so important, and it's find someone to study with and talk this shit out with. I mean, it's important that you explain it to people in your everyday life. I agree, but they're going to get sick of you doing it. So find someone who's also trying to do the same thing, right? They want to talk about it. Like text each other like, hey, I'm actually, walking, I was talking to this guy on this app and I noticed he never responds to me and I like him more. Oh my God, I think I'm on a variable ratio schedule. Is that right? And you're like, oh yeah, that is right. Okay, cool. So then that is how you will make sure that you are implementing this stuff into your everyday life. That's why we started Behavior Bitches podcast. Listen to it. We're talking about everyday life situations. I mean, hopefully you're never negotiating a hostage, but behavior goes into all these things. And the cool thing I said during this quarantine that people should realize is like a lot of things are taken away from us, but behavior is around us at all times. You could be studying it when you're not even realizing that you're studying. Everyone's saying, Danielle, amazing advice. I'm so glad that I turned in.
Yay, I'm so happy. I have a heart for multiple time test taker because it's me. What?
Someone said the main difference you did this time were the mocks. Is that what you said?
I did take multiple mock exams, yes.
Did you do that previously?
No.
Okay, and talk the talk. And I always say if you could talk it, you could test it. Seriously, if you could talk this shit out, try find someone who doesn't understand it at all. If you could explain it to them in the most basic terms, no one needs you to recite your Cooper book to them. The test is not asking you to verbatim recite you need to be able to apply this to real life. The test is not just on autism. It could be someone who's a dolphin trainer. It could be someone who is trying to get someone in shape at the gym. You need to be able to apply it to every aspect of life. That is how you can have the best understanding and it will make you a strong practitioner after too, when you really understand that.
I'm glad you said that. That made me think of something else. So
Say it.
right when we talk about you can talk it, you can test it. Okay, so I was a special education teacher, and I feel like this is a good thing for you multiple time test takers, and I don't know. So, but I'm a teacher, and I'm a teacher by heart. So when I look at questions, I look at them like a teacher would look at them, and that's not what they're asking you to look at them. So you need to put your teacher brain, you need to put your RBT brain, you need to, whatever you're doing, you need to look at all of those questions like you are already a BCBA, and what would a BCBA do? So I think that was also one of the things that I practiced. What would a BCBA do here? Not what would a special education teacher do? Not what would the RBT do, right? Because I only have school. That's what I am. I'm a special education teacher, or was. But you have to look at it like a BCBA. That's why it's important to get into your ethics book. Ethically, what would the BCBA do here, right? So now even when I go in, because I'm classroom support, so now when I go into classrooms, I think, what ethically as a BCBA, what would I do here? How would I write this program for this kid? What are they asking you for a BCBA? So turn off your whatever brain that you have, if it's a teacher brain or an RBT brain or whatever. You put your BCBA brain on, because you are a BCBA. All you need is the letters. That's it. You know the content. You've taken the test multiple times. You are a BCBA. You are just minus those letters. That's all you need. Okay. So put that on, put your brain on, and think that way. Start thinking like a BCBA. Can I identify this in real life? How would the BCBA identify this? So put your BCBA brain on.
Love it. All right. Are there any other questions we're missing, Casey, that people are asking?
Nope. I think we're good.
So guys, next Tuesday, the 14th, we're going to be talking about studying self-management skills, which is super important. This month, we're really focusing on those skills you need to study. Obviously, the content is super important, but there's also a lot of skills you need, behaviors yourself that you need to engage in to get the most out of your studying, and skills you could work on for taking the actual test. So we'll see you on next Tuesday. We'll be in the same place because this worked. This is great. And our next class that we're having tomorrow is a free class on stimulus equivalents with the dudes at Sitecore. We love them and we really mean it.
Yeah, they're awesome.
So Danielle, thank you so much.
You are welcome.
Thanks, Carol, that was awesome. I'm like inspired now. Like I want to go read Cooper. I'm gonna go bring it outside and take a CEU.